Let's do it.
Everyone, he's back. The anchor being is back. The character you know and love so well. Every fucking characteristic down to the actor himself is back, and they'll use him till he's 90. Don't think about what meaning you could draw out of Logan. Doesn't fucking matter.
When you want to criticize a movie like Deadpool and Wolverine, I feel like it's very easy to fall into the trap of going after things that the movie is purposely commentating on. You know, like it talks about and it mentions in the movie, and because it's making fun of a lot of stuff, right? Like criticizing a movie like this, you need to be, it might be like it's specific things you can go after, and it's very easy to look a little bit stupid. Yeah.
Well, I mean, criticizing it. I mean, I love Logan, but like, yeah, I mean, Deadpool acknowledges early on that, like, hey, isn't it disrespectful for me to try to revive Logan? Yeah, but I'm very disrespectful, so why not?
I mean, Logan is literally one of my favorite movies. I know somebody might think that's lame or something, but like, I fucking love that movie. Awesome. It's genuinely just great. And I was kind of like cringing, but also laughing my ass off that the whole thing, you know, once I realized what he was going to be doing, I was like, oh my fucking Christ, man, this is like, because it's Deadpool. You know, you bought the ticket to see the movie, you know what Deadpool's about. If you don't, then I mean, I guess you're just those Christian people.
We went to see Deadpool and we left probably about 25-30 minutes into it. It is disgusting. It is so against the Lord. They are blaspheming our Creator, and you should not see it.
But like, if you have any idea what Deadpool's about and you buy the ticket to see the movie, you kind of have to fucking chill the F out and you know, kind of leave some reverence at home, right?
Yeah, like he's gonna be out of pocket.
I mean, okay, if we're being serious here, and I vaguely remember because I watched the first couple of minutes of this a while ago, their opening argument, like complaining about how it's desecrating Logan or whatever, is conceptually fairly similar to the arguments that those Christians were making, where they were like, it's disrespectful to our guy, you know, and it's like, okay, I mean, I guess if you literally cannot take a joke, then
which puts me in a weird position, Malachi, because now I'm like agreeing more with them than with the Christians, like that I kind of side more with like
I'm not saying it's as bad, but it could, you know, categorically there's some similarities there.
Yeah. And I mean, there was like, to me, I thought that a lot of people before, and they were thinking like, oh, it's going to be Logan from that movie, right? And he's going to come back to life
at first, but then
and I was like, okay, that's fair if people want to be like, okay, yeah, that's kind of, you know, doing something to the end of Logan, which was very emotional and stuff. But they didn't. Logan is dead.
Yeah,
that Logan is very, very dead.
I mean, he does some minor desecration to the body, and by minor I mean pretty severe. But he's very dead.
Right. Yeah. Look, I love Wolverine. He's literally my favorite fucking superhero is Wolverine. I grew to love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I definitely love Logan as a film. Like, just aside from being a Wolverine film or an X-Men or anything like that, it just kind of transcends the genre, in my opinion. But like, I've loved Marvel Comics and shit for as long as I can remember, basically. So like, if there's anybody that should be offended by it, it would be me, if I didn't have a sense of like humor, and also that like it at the end of the day, man.
Okay, they're talking about fictional characters. Fictional characters. Am I getting through to you at all?
I think keep in mind is that Logan's a great movie, and it still exists. You can still watch it. I have it on Blu-ray out there. It's right there anytime I want to watch it in its entirety, untarnished by Deadpool dancing to NSYNC.
Next time Mauler watches Logan, is he gonna not cry whenever Hugh Jackman says,
"Yeah, this is what it feels like"?
Yeah,
but like he's dead. He's still dead. And the thing is, when you go back and watch Logan now, every time that you look upon his face, just know Deadpool fucking desecrated his body.
Yeah. Think of trying. You know what it would be? Make it fun is try and think about which bones he uses for different purposes in that.
All 207 of them.
I just want you to watch that so sad death scene and think to yourself, bye, Bye. Bye.
I don't like this film.
Fucking Christ. I mean, let's see. We're 29 seconds in. He's said a couple of reductive things and then just started to sound like he might have some point to make. And then he just says he doesn't like it.
Okay. So listen, we've just started this video, argument. but why haven't you laid out all your arguments for why
no,
you
it
don't
seems
like
weird that we haven't seen any evidence that the film is bad yet. Like,
yeah. Come on, man. You've had 30
goddamn slacker.
I mean, it's literally like, I mean, yes, there's the joke of like, yeah, he hasn't said anything yet, but like, okay. But even being fair and realistic, like, what can you say something that gets us an idea of, because it's really just saying things in a demeaning tone about like, being really reductive and cynical about, and it's like, if you're just going to be cynical about a movie like this, then don't see movies like this.
True.
You know what I mean? You have to want to fucking have a good time, I think, to some degree. This comes off as just somebody who's looking for the cynical take to have.
So you don't have the heart for a movie like this, and that's okay. Yeah. Just accept it.
You know what? I understand, and I understand where you're coming from, because I also don't like this movie. Makes me sad.
Because we don't know.
Makes me a little bit mad.
You know, that visual, that series of visuals, they, if anything, they belong at the end of Logan, but after a good like minute or so to have taken in what the movie did as a goodbye, they don't fucking deserve to plaster it over this film. It's so embarrassing.
What is all this emotionally charged fucking vague gestures to shit? Like, they don't deserve to this, like, actually it would have been tonally fucking weird to have that at the end of Logan.
It would be fucking bizarre. You imagine, like, you see the
with the song
put down, then you hear Green Day start playing, and have some like goofy behind the scenes video of like James Marsden dancing or whatever. Like,
yeah, and have Chris Evans come out and say this, all his shit.
Cassandra Nova, a megalomaniacal psychotic asshole, a finger-licking dead inside pixie slap, a third-rate dime store nut-no. And I'll tell you what she can do. I'm listening. She can lick my goddamn cinnamon ring clean and kick rocks all the way to bald hell. If the last thing I do in this godforsaken cum-gutter existence...
Yeah.
What? You know what Logan needed? The Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, look, just full disclosure here at the beginning, a disclaimer. I am on the autism spectrum, so everything I'm about to say is perfectly okay. Okay. These guys love to use tism as like an insult. They say, oh, this tism is strong or whatever. Fuck, I don't know. I've seen it around, right? They love to say that shit. I legitimately think that Mauler's fucking tism he lets it limit him in his understanding of things. Like, because he just chooses to be fucking obstinate. And
I was about ready to say, not only that, but he frames it as at least as a good thing, as like, this is just me, and this is the way you should view stuff. You don't view it this way, you're wrong, and you're bad, and that's how he frames it.
Oh my god, guy! I mean, that's a crazy argument. I've never heard that before. No, of course. Like, I don't know if you're being
we agree
ironic or what. Like, we've made these arguments.
I 100% agree.
The point is that like he's valid. I mean, he can have whatever fucking opinion he wants to. Literally, he's got it. It's doing pretty well for him. But I don't feel like these opinions come from a place of like wanting to give media a good fair shake.
I can't. I just walking away from the film. It's just so. I'm just struck by the cynicism.
Oh my god!
It's frustrating though.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
So they seem very offended by the movie.
Well, you just said cynicism. What? Like, no, man, you just.
Well, I mean, they seem upset because it disrespected the film, Logan. Which, I mean, I guess you can say that. But the thing to keep in mind is it's a fucking Deadpool movie. Disrespect is part of the game,
right?
And the Logan film is not like a crying child. You can make fun of it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Wait, are they applying the same logic? Are they saying that, like, basically in the same way that they see the entire Star Wars franchise is ruined because of The Last Jedi or whatever, that like that something can actually retroactively affect movies that are separate from, like, is that kind of how they're looking at it? I don't know. I don't know.
Don't ask me. I've never understood that argument. So,
but the fact that I don't think it was Mauler's, whatever the other fucking guy is. Just called it the cynicism of it, right? It's like, okay, yeah, but also not really, because it's done with love. The cynicism is like couch, or I'm sorry, the love and appreciation, the reverence is couched in cynicism, and there's layers to it with Deadpool. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, I don't know.
I feel like the Cosmonaut Variety Hour video on Deadpool did a pretty good job of explaining that, because he was talking about how a lot of movies will have cameos that feel like they're trying to say, hey, you like that character, you like that character, you like that character. And he described Deadpool and Wolverine as being like, hey, you like that character? Because we like him too. You know, like it felt very sincere in its inclusion, all of that. And like, you want the fun like PowerPoint slide at the end and everything to come after like a fun, happy movie, and not after one of the bleakest ones in the entire franchise, you know? Like, of course, that's when they're going to do that.
Well, I mean, they're not going to do that right after, like, oh, everyone you care about in these videos is dead in this canonically after this movie.
They chose characters like fucking Elektra, who had a universally known to have a terrible movie, her solo movie. And then she was spun off. That movie was spun off from a pretty bad Daredevil movie, honestly. And then
the director's cut was better, but yeah, it's not great remotely.
Yeah, barely. It had some cool court scenes added to it. That's about it. It still had the goddamn playground fight. Okay, they didn't get rid of that, but like, it still had fucking Ben Affleck pretending to be blind.
Hey, I will say that Deadpool movie suffered a lot, in my opinion, when the actual series came out. And went, oh god damn it, yeah, this is Daredevil.
Yeah. So Elektra, choosing that should tell you that they chose it. I watched an interview with Sean Levy after I saw the movie, so I know this specifically. They chose these characters because they were ones that they felt like didn't, literally in the movie they give them an ending. They wanted to give them more of a wrap this stuff up. They didn't get a fair shake, they feel like. And they could have chosen fucking Captain America, like Chris Evans could have been Captain America.
He was there.
That would have been like the pandery cynical cameo thing.
Yeah.
And then Blade, I think, is probably the only one that's like generally most people would like consider him a cool character for the most part, except for that last movie, really.
I think for the most part they were I think that's kind of like a callback, because I'm pretty sure that was Ryan Reynolds' first superhero movie, and also there's the reports that him and Wesley Snipes didn't get along. So I think they're just
because my favorite joke in the movie was I'll say that now. Probably something else to pop out next time I watch it. But leaving the theater, I was still chuckling at whenever he Blade says, "I don't like you," and he's like, "Yeah, you never really did." It's like you gotta know the inside scoop of fucking Blade Trinity's production troubles to know that joke, to get that joke.
Was that it worked. It's making a lot of money. It's really successful. It really shouldn't. It shouldn't be that this this approach to trying to tell a story, revitalize a series, works. It shouldn't. You remember how they were making all of those comments about, we're not going to disrespect the ending of Logan. We're not going to.
That's not what they said. That's not what
I
they
don't
said.
recall them ever saying that.
Because I wanted to see how they because I was a bit surprised at first. I was like, wait, what? They're actually doing something with the corpse. Okay. And for a second, I was like, that seems like they promised they wouldn't do that. No, what they promised was they were not going to bring that version of Logan back. And they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't. Bro is dead.
Yeah.
Tread all over that. And then the fact that the film actually has him literally dig up his corpse and then use it to kill a bunch of TVA
That's
agents.
the joke.
That was man. What?
Yeah, that's the joke, man.
That? But it's funny.
Yeah.
Look, you didn't.
It is funny. It was uncomfortable at first because, like I said, I fucking love that movie. For like 20 seconds, I was like, oh my God, they're really doing this. And then it basically dared me to get over it. And I did. You know what I mean? Like, it dared me to just have fun. It's fucking stop thinking that way about it. You still love that movie.
It's a Deadpool movie. don't go in there expecting like reverence to superhero movies.
Also,
and I say that even though Deadpool is a fan of a lot of these superheroes.
Yeah,
he gets pretty fucking crass about it.
As a Wolverine fan, I was really happy to see the adamantium skeleton. I'm sorry, I'll take it. You know, even if I saw it little pieces at a time, going through TVA heads and stuff. Anyway,
I mean, Deadpool's the exact type. Look at him go. I was just going to add, Deadpool's the exact type of superhero to ask questions like Jason Lee and Mallrats to wonder about, you know, things, rock, dong, and shit like that.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Fantastic and his whole body stretch. Like,
I mean, every part, you know, like his...
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's all so superficial and surface level. Like this film... Because Logan I can rewatch and recommend.
Can I just say that, like, so far, maybe they get into the deepest criticism ever in the remaining however many minutes, but like so far, this has been the most superficial fucking commentary on the movie that I'm surprised.
These guys are objective film viewers. Objectively, they spent 3 minutes right now around there. It's going, I don't like it.
Appealing to their specific preferences and their emotions about things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like this is obviously, if there's anyone in here being like, oh, it's just their opinions and all, don't, like, if this was like two just random YouTubers, like, we wouldn't be doing this, you know? It's fine if people want to sit and have a live stream where they're talking about this movie that they don't like, right? It's specifically because it's Mauler and he has a certain standard, and his fans come after you if you even try to say anything about him, saying that he's objective, that he does all this, and that he's very thought out and well articulated and stuff. And we're just kind of saying no.
Like if you build your entire internet persona around being a smarmy motherfucker, like, you better have some bulletproof shit, otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and also just, you know, because we're probably going to end up hearing these things regurgitated back to us, then at least, you know, we're getting ahead of it. We know what we can expect to hear down the line forever. You know, because they love to just repeat what he says as if it's an original thought.
Yeah.
And especially in line with like you could have like a watch recommendation for the Fox universe or whatever. But like this one, the best it has, and this isn't even from this is directly from people who love this film. It's like it's a mess of a film that I have fun with. And you're like, damn, man, imagine what.
You know, and this isn't about Mauler in particular, but like you mentioned it made me think of that. I was wondering about this. So that is something you hear a lot. I've even kind of alluded to. It's kind of a messy plot or whatever. Like, what do you guys think of specifically whenever if you've said that or thought that it's a messy movie? What exactly do you find messy about it?
I mean, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But like, what is? I'm sorry to be pedantic or whatever.
Like characters kind of popping up that you weren't, you know, that you weren't expecting to have. The plot takes a lot of detours and goes in all of these different directions before ultimately reaching the end. Like, it's not really like a linear story.
True. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. It's about how I see it too.
You know, it's like that.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of seems like that's part of it to me. It's, once you start introducing multiverse stuff into a story, you kind of just, you know, it's almost like you're obligated to get a little wacky with it. Like, think about the Spider-Verse movies and, you know, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, this is not a movie where I was going into it saying, like, I want to know, like, I didn't want it to be predictable. I did not want to know exactly where it's going. I didn't want to, I didn't need this movie to have some extremely solid script that I just can't find any, you know, inconsistencies in. Like, it's goofy, it's fun, it had some emotional moments, and it was a good time. That was what I needed it to be.
I mean, look, I would say that as much as I don't think the MCU has just been like terrible, like some people seem to think it is, has been, I think this movie had what a lot of the more recent stuff hasn't had enough of or consistent enough of, which is just like, have fucking fun with this experience. Right. There's a lot of like, I expected this to do more to kind of branch off into other stuff, and it didn't. It kind of kept it like insular to, you know, Fox universe stuff or whatever, which I thought was kind of considering, you know, that Feige, Disney, or whoever very easily could have told them they have to do certain things that are going to spin off into future projects or whatever.
Yeah.
And they didn't really do that.
This movie was a love letter to the Fox universe. Actually, Dean in my comments brought up a very good point. They did miss a cameo with Foggy Nelson. He was right there, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the frustrating thing, is that there should not be... You should not have the expectation or the belief that this is the best that you could have expected from a Deadpool and Wolverine team-up movie.
But I mean, it kind
I don't know what
is.
It's I thought it was pretty good.
As someone who's read a lot of Deadpool and Wolverine comics, it is exactly really what you want from it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, what are they expecting other than this kind of movie, you know?
I mean, they're almost like a classic comedy duo. And if you think about it, you know, you got Deadpool, who's your goofball, and then you got Wolverine, who's the straight man, who you know, they're playing off each other.
I don't think they have those.
Honestly, I think it's a great combo. Yeah. I
don't
also
have those in movies
doubt
anymore?
like these guys know anything about that. Knowing
like, what's the perfect Deadpool and Wolverine movie to them? Is it just like Logan, but with Deadpool in it, too, also acting?
I would love Deadpool and Logan.
Yeah, you'd be sacrificing the character of Deadpool if you're doing something like that, though.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
it'd be more like Ultimate Deadpool if they did that. Which, you know, if anybody's ever read that shit, it was Deadpool in name only.
Like they could either make him like Deadpool super serious and then he's not Deadpool anymore, or make Logan, but then also have Deadpool be himself in it, and then suddenly it's not Logan anymore. You know, like Deadpool Wolverine. Like, this is the kind of movie you make with these two.
I mean, I guess I could say that, like, the one thing that they might have something, you know, and I don't think they really are familiar with the source material to be coming from this perspective, but maybe, is that if it wasn't a multiverse shenanigans movie, then there could be more of you know, kind of, I guess, character-driven plot that really kind of, you know, digs more into this version of Wolverine, and you know, like, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, they're maybe you could say that there was a potential characterization that was not, they didn't do anything with because they were spent a lot of time on doing the shenanigans. I don't know that that's necessarily like a fault against the movie that they didn't do that.
There were definitely a couple of misses, I felt like, with Wolverine. Like, in particular, I felt like his backstory was just, it didn't really justify some of the weight that he was given. Like, I don't know, I guess, like, I have gripes here and there with how specific things were handled, but the general, like, premise of the film, I feel like, is pretty much exactly what I would have wanted. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It depends on what they mean by, is this the best? Because is it literally perfect? No. But is it, you know, one of the best possible approaches? I would say probably, yeah.
Are you talking about Wolverine's backstory?
Yeah.
They're comparing it to something that doesn't exist.
I don't know. I just thought, like, they're like, oh, he's the worst Logan. And then I felt like what he did wasn't as bad as it could have been. Like, I felt like maybe a flashback.
No, but I think the important thing was what he felt about it. And what he felt about was, like, he just did the worst thing he could have.
And it's also informed by, like, the fact that he didn't ever really let himself be part of this family that he clearly knew what he could be part of, and he just didn't, you know, until it was too late. He didn't.
Oh, I agree with that. Was fantastic. I thought, like, the actual individual character work, I just would, like, maybe it would have just been better to see, like, a flashback. You don't even need to see a flashback of, like, the X-Men dying or anything, but literally just a flashback to what he was like in that moment, so you can see, like, the way that he was behaving, so that you see why he felt so guilty. Because just saying, like, oh, he wasn't there because he was drinking or whatever, like, I don't feel like I had enough context to feel like he should have.
I think, let me correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he said something briefly about that he was the reason, like, that he had been killing people that weren't necessarily bad guys or something like that. And
was that also came afterwards, right? Yeah, response to all of them dying, then he killed people.
So that's
not
the part
just
that you went berserker rage.
Yeah,
it's all kind of like it's all a package deal, right? Like, he feels guilt about killing these innocent, pure, not bad guys, essentially, out of grief, right? From losing, you know, it's all kind of compounded there.
Yeah, but I still think like the main core of his grief, you know, comes from, like you said, you know, the potential of having a family and, you know, not having that because of his own stupid decisions and stuff. And honestly, because I was also expecting it to be, in a way, I don't know, like, worse than what it ended up being. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know, I'm actually glad that the worst Wolverine is still not that bad, you know? Like
yeah.
Like the worst Wolverine isn't a villain per se.
Well, that's kind of the point that Laura makes to him, right? Is that like they all think they're the worst. They all think they're terrible and the wrong guy. Like that's kind of the thing until he realizes, oh wait, I'm actually not. You know, it's just a thing that all Wolverines seem to have to go through. Which like is that. You know, that's good thing there. Yeah, I mean, and of course I can extrapolate all kinds of stuff from like, you know, that's not in the movie, so that wouldn't be fair to do that, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it real quick. So like, if you consider the fact that if we assume that his life leading up to being in the X-Men was generally about the same as it is, you know, in other examples of Wolverine, he kind of squandered the opportunity to have this peace in this family that in the regular Marvel universe he eventually embraces and goes on to become a teacher and the headmaster of the school and shit like that. You know, a lot of growth there. He squandered that. He didn't take advantage of it, and then they get killed. You know, like that would be a pretty thick layer of grief on top of it. But anyway,
if you had fun, sure, okay. But like, why does that preclude the possibility that there was a better version of this story that existed?
Nobody said that. There could have been
a better version of this story.
Nobody has said there's literally no better version of, like, nobody's literally coming out here and saying not a single thing about the film could be improved.
What if I told you that pretty much every single movie ever made could possibly be improved? There's continuity errors, there's little detail errors in every single fucking movie.
Imagine applying this logic to everything in life, man.
Yeah.
You're fucking like, you would never be happy ever. You'd never be satisfied with anything. Like that was the best steak I've ever had. Yeah, but you know, there's probably a better steak out there somewhere, right? Like
I feel like it could
now I can't enjoy it
off the grill like 5 seconds earlier, and it won't be better.
God. But I mean, it's just like, it's such a sneaky little straw man being inserted in there. Like people are telling him that they like this movie, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to interpret that as them saying it literally can't be improved." It's like, yeah, okay, you can win any argument if that's what people are saying, but that's not what they're saying. So
it is.
I mean, in general, you can win any argument if you just make up the argument for the other person.
Yeah, true.
It is fucking notable that these guys will do shit exactly like you just described, and yet like their audience will show up in our chats or whatever whenever we're criticizing something of theirs. And I know you know this, Bob, too. Like, and they'll be like, "No, specifically, exactly, that's not what he said exactly," kind of thing. You know, they'll get real pedantic about word choices and things like that. And if you at all say anything that doesn't 100% accurately represent something they've said, then you're just fucking bad faith. It's pretty interesting.
I don't know what EFAP fans you get, Dane, but mine are always like well thought out and reasonable and courteous and nice.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's just me that's attracting the wackos.
I mean, in between the insults and the profanity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was coherent and meaningfully paid respect to its characters.
It did.
Why is it that this has to be the best that we could have expected?
What a fucking...
Who are you asking
weird
that?
So, like, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, are they saying it's bad? Or are they saying it could have been better? Because one of those things is like, yeah, sure, but it doesn't mean it's bad. Come on. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just honestly, to me, it comes off like they kind of had decided ahead of time that they needed to talk shit on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like.
They didn't get the memo that Phantom Menace was liking this.
Guys, we're 3 minutes into this video.
We do need to get on it. We're really EFAPing it.
All right, I'm gonna let it go for a full minute now. All right.
And I don't know, man. I suppose it's just unfortunate because if someone says that, it's like, okay, I didn't have fun watching it. I didn't have fun. It was very much a case of just sitting there, kind of like, all right, and then like as soon as you walk out, thinking like, yep, that didn't really follow. That didn't make sense. But the thing is everybody seems to very much be on board with the idea that the plot doesn't make any sense. It seems like it's a little bit harder to get to the point of accepting that the characters were not treated right.
No.
That both Deadpool and Wolverine were done a massive disservice by this film. What is what would you point to as a meaningful, substantive point of praise for this film? I'm asking you specifically.
And then I'm going to pause it now because it's been right at a minute. And thankfully he asked that question because I was getting to the point where like, can you please say something substantive?
Do you want to know something I thought was really good about the movie? The fucking characterization of Deadpool and especially Wolverine.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of shit brained, I mean, look, these are people that like think that the characterization of Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi was bad. So like already just, fuck off with your analysis because it sucks. You're wrong. No, they were treated with a lot of respect, like clearly a lot of respect. There's literally been a kind of back. Bob, you might have seen this in recent Marvel comics. They have it's called Weapon Extraction. It's been like a little 2-3 page adventure that's running throughout different titles at the end of each issue.
I have not picked up. I have not seen any of that, but I've seen like the logo in the corner of books. So I know of it.
It is designed. It is being published in the just kind of like a secondary story in various comics that like to kind of coincide exactly with this movie because it's literally Deadpool and Wolverine going through the multiverse trying to stop something multiverse from universes from just being destroyed. And I just read the final entry into it today, and spoiler alert, they don't save any universes in the whole thing. They keep fucking like, and the whole time Wolverine is fucking miserable. He's pissed off that he's paired with Deadpool. Deadpool is fucking happy that he's paired with Wolverine, and he's being annoying about it. And like, it is the most accurate fucking depiction of these two characters together. Like, period. That's just what, there's been various X-Force stories, like Rick Remender's X-Force, where Deadpool is portrayed as more like insane and not as funny at all, like, and everybody thinks he's really fucking annoying, but I mean, and the tone of the story is darker for sure, but I mean, it's still the same general dynamic and they're still representing the same kind of perspectives in a story together. So I don't get where they can. Love to know what comics are reading.
Yeah,
if you had to give it your best shot.
I mean, the line, he wasn't like the right guy until he was. There's a concept in it that we were talking about it earlier. I would have loved to have seen in the scene itself to talk about, like I said, to talk about the reality that no one likes to talk about. Which, by the way, I just realized this is the fucking speech from Far From Home. It's where.
So real quick, he had to like add some context to that because we do see that explored in this movie. We just don't see it explored in that very specific scene. He had to specify that because it's like, I don't know. I find that really obnoxious and nitpicky.
Wait, and isn't it really interesting when he's asked to praise the film or give like a substantive point of praise, and the best that he can come up with is this would have been good in a better movie. Like, you can just say it was a good element of this film that you wanted to have explored more. It's like, okay, we've decided this movie is bad, so anything good about it is still bad. You can't
it's from that same school of criticism that Critical Drinker does, where he's like, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a really great movie, but just imagine if it was made by some fucking wokey, Gen Z or something like that. It would be terrible.
This is the best movie ever, but it gave me cancer.
Yeah. Definitely don't watch the Daniels Oscar acceptance speech then, if you don't want to have Everything Everywhere All at Once ruined for you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm sure the Daniels are very anti-woke. I've seen their movies.
Yeah.
No anti-woke.
Spider-Man needs to hear that Iron Man was not perfect. Why does everyone think that? He was a guy. He was full of flaws. He couldn't live up to the very legend that Iron Man is. If she had done something like that, explained to him that he must be getting tired of everyone explaining how amazing Logan was, especially with how much he's probably living with, and then to admit that she just doesn't know enough about him. He knew a different Logan.
Wait a second. Hold on. Is he saying that people were telling him left and right that how amazing Wolverine is or something? Because it really was just Deadpool and Laura. Right? Is that what he's saying?
I don't even know,
seems like, but he also seems like he's complaining about something that really kind of was done and explored.
And I'm more hung up
the way
on
he wanted.
I'm more hung up on the fact that he just wants them to do No Way Home again or Far From Home again or whatever, where he's like, oh yeah, there's this speech in this old movie. I wish that they'd done it like the old movie. It's like, you can just go watch that one. This was going for something a little bit different.
Yeah. Why didn't they treat Wolverine the same way they did Spider-Man? Right?
Like, yeah.
Why isn't every superhero movie just Logan?
Yeah.
No, it also seems like they're wanting them to explore exclusively through dialogue in that one scene. And that's something that drives me nuts with EFAP fans. Like, everything has to be done through dialogue. No fucking does it. No.
They aren't the best with subtext. They aren't the best with, like emotion.
Visual storytelling, very basic thing of movies.
Yeah. Well, you can't be objective if it's up to interpretation.
That's true.
I generally believe that's
You're
why.
Not wrong. You're
like, it's probably why they're so insistent on everything needs to be through dialogue, because unless it's said explicitly, they can't be certain, and then it's not objective. I don't know.
Yeah, they might say something silly by expressing their feelings on a thing.
Exactly.
Can't be vulnerable like that.
All of that shit. The scene itself, it's because it's those two characters, and all they have to say is fucking hello and goodbye, and I'd probably already find the scene meaningful if they act it right. But the line, at the very least, being something that I would desperately dig for meaning out of, I guess makes the scene, raise up a bit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that might beat it.
I guess because a lot of people are saying the acting, to which I would say sure, but I mean the acting was good in Multiverse of Madness. Like, the acting seems to be something.
Okay, so because the acting was good in another movie, the acting being good in this movie doesn't count.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. Yeah.
Okay, that seems totally cool.
And that's also a valid point of praise. You can say, I didn't like Multiverse of Madness, but I liked the performances in it. Like, that is a positive thing. That is something that people can enjoy in a movie, even if they don't like the story.
He's saying it's like a negative thing.
Or they can just say negative things about two movies at once. How about that?
I mean, it was just brought up during the stream. That 2003 Hulk movie. Ang Lee went for something I think he failed kind of miserably. But, the three main actors, I thought did pretty well, especially Sam Elliott. Jennifer Connelly was a good Betty Ross, and I thought Eric Bana was underrated as Bruce Banner.
I want to watch Hulk punch that dog in the dick again.
True.
Because he does. He punches that Hulk dog right in the dick.
That you can reliably expect to
I
be
thought you were saying a writing thing. If it was just an aspect
that's
of
what
filmmaking.
I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant was writing. Because yes, Hugh Jackman was great in delivering some really bad writing, unfortunately.
Bad writing.
And I mean, I guess I like some of the music choices, but I mean, I don't know. Surely we can do better than that. Like, if we're talking about, substantive praise for the writing. Man, I really wanted it to be. I even clung to the hope of oh yeah, but it's not entirely like a Marvel Studios production because it's got all of the other stuff tied up in it, right? Of more producers and production companies and stuff like that would hopefully act as a essentially to counteract what at this point seems to be a fundamentally deeply ingrained problem with the way that Marvel makes movies. That's the only way that you can explain such a consistent string of terrible films. But the reality is that this film doesn't feel very much out of lockstep with what's been released consistently over the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh, okay. So wow, it's really hard to nail down what they think about this movie.
Yeah.
Because it just suddenly went to it's about as bad as everything else, which I imagine, if we're talking about the Marvels and stuff like that, then they didn't like that one bit.
I mean, we are almost halfway through, and they have yet to make any substantive claim or about how bad this movie is. Little bits here and there, but nothing that qualifies as runtime yet.
It hurt our feelings about Logan.
Yeah.
Made us sad.
Well, that's not a very objective criticism, though, so I don't count that. I don't think it's valid. I mean, wow. It really
Where does it got EFAP'd?
Is this? I don't know. I'm really frustrated by the fact that this kind of thing, that their audience is definitely watching this video and thinking they're saying something.
Yeah. That's the thing. They're barely saying anything. Most of this video's been
and then inconsistent whenever they do kind of start to land on like what they feel about it overall. It's like, you know, this stuff's good, this stuff's good, but then the writing, this fucking bad writing bullshit, man. I fucking hate it. I've you know, done videos on it. Me and Little Movie Perp explored this pretty in depth. Like, the idea that you can just go, that's bad writing, and then that's all you got to do. They just say that, and oh, okay, yeah, fair, okay.
No, a lot of these guys are really obvious, bad. Isn't it? They're really terrible about just saying bad. X is bad, Y is bad,
but it's mainly writing.
They are terrible about elaborating.
Well, and especially because bad writing can mean so many different things. And by generalizing it, you know, it's like, okay, do you mean that the dialogue was bad? Because that felt like what he was implying there. But like a movie can have bad dialogue and have a good plot, or vice versa. Like it's such a vague generalization that it makes it impossible. Like you're not actually giving us any information, you know, specify.
That, like, considering the range of bizarre fucking wonky concepts that exist in this movie, and that they kind of just like, for the most part, I mean, I'm sure I could pick out watching it again a few things that aren't done as well or whatever, but like I'm talking about a movie where you've got a guy from Fantastic Four, then you've got Blade, Vampire Hunter, and like, you know, mutants and all this shit, like, and it's kind of just works generally. Like it all congeals into a story with a, you know, maybe it's a messy story, but like it doesn't feel like any of this stuff is out of place, despite being a pretty, you know, big range of wacky concepts. I'd say that's probably good writing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I could actually say that I think this movie works because it is messy, but somehow it brings it all together and makes it cohesive.
Yeah, I agree with this. It's like I like watching videos where people are going over, you know, a script and all the different, like, whether it's the dialogue, whether it's plot holes, whether it's the plot, different stuff, you know. It's like proving why they believe that the writing is bad in a certain scene and stuff, you know. And I can find that entertaining. I don't always agree with it, because like, bad when people say bad writing, it's not objective, you know, but it's that,
exactly. The reason that they don't get into detail is because by doing that, it would just reveal that it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, exactly. Like I enjoy seeing people's opinions on that, you know, not because like, oh, tell me the answer, you know, but just rather I like hearing different perspectives on movies.
Yeah,
but when someone is just, but like when someone is just, oh yeah, this is just bad writing and doesn't elaborate, like, okay,
there's a whole army of fucking, you know, not really media literate chuds out there who think that that's just a legitimate thing to say, and that's all you have to say, and it's like the magic word that shuts down any, you know, you can't say anything positive in return to that because I've already said it's bad writing.
And it's and for their sake, right, if like they want to have a good argument, if you give evidence and you explain in depth and elaborate why exactly and which parts and stuff, it's so much more difficult for someone like us, you know, to go in and counteract that. If you just say, oh, this is just bad writing, someone can just say, no, it's not.
Yep.
Those are the same arguments.
Well, but you know what they do then is they would put the onus on you. Sorry, microphone there. They put the onus on you to explain why it's good writing.
No, I get that in my comments where people will be like, prove to me that this is well written. And I'm like, what question? What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. You haven't proven that it's bad writing.
It just seems like it's filled with a lot of that if it was that given time, it will be recognized that many of the things in particular that have been singled out as points of praise will be referenced in the future as being very comparable to the kinds of trends that we saw in a lot of similar, like, big multiverse crossover films that have been released over the last few years.
Like,
because a lot of the fundamental building blocks are the same. But how much can you really say, well, yeah, you know, like, this film's got a lot going for it, when the plot, everybody seems to agree, is, like, down to its core, foundationally, completely and utterly broken. And that the characters don't seem to be acting consistently with the way that they were portrayed in their prior stories, which is
gonna explain how?
Yeah, there's no fucking examples, no elaboration.
characters portrayed how we've seen them in their prior stories. So Deadpool is like what? Deadpool 2 is 6 years old, and I don't see any inconsistency there. This is not the same Logan we've seen any other time, so I don't see any issue to.
But even still, he is recognizable as Wolverine.
Yes. And as far as other characters, as far as other characters outside of Happy, we haven't seen most of these characters in at least 10 years. Channing Tatum's Gambit, we've never fucking seen him before.
That was out of character.
Bring him in just to give him to him. Yeah.
I mean, what are we like? Are we pissed off that it didn't fit or didn't conform 100% to the characterization of the Elektra movie? We're like, oh man, she acted slightly different in this. Her dialogue was better. What the fuck was the deal with that?
I wanted to be completely fucking bored like I was during the Elektra movie when she popped up, but instead I was enjoying myself. What garbage.
Yeah, remember the lady with the tattoos or the guy with the tattoos that attacked people? That was cool. KEWL.
Remember how all the bad guys disappear into green dust? That was cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. Bring it back. All right.
Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
By the way, I want to clear this up. I did this on the stream the other day, but I want to make sure everybody understands because I've seen some people saying that Channing Tatum did not do a good Cajun accent. You're wrong. He did a very good Cajun accent. The problem is Channing Tatum isn't a very good actor. So, while the dialect was pretty good, as someone who lived in Louisiana and down in the South and stuff, it's pretty good, spot on. His overall delivery is still just Channing Tatum.
Wasn't like it the whole point that it was bad?
Kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
no, I mean, I know lots of people saying, "Hey, let's give him a movie." I'm not gonna lie, seeing that cameo, I was like, I'm glad he did a movie.
I mean, but I'm thinking that like if they did. I don't know, maybe I'm just naive here, but I was thinking like if they did an actual movie, like they would do a lot better. But they thought, what would be funny if like you just sound weird, like the way you pronounce things is weird. I don't know if that was on purpose. That's what I thought, but maybe it's.
I mean, if you watch any Channing Tatum movies, he's not a fucking De Niro or anything.
No, he's not.
I mean, I like the Jump Street movies because they kind of lean to it occasionally, where he's not the great range.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not saying that like an emotional scene would be like the greatest piece of cinema, but it's like I don't know. I feel like they were leaning into it a bit.
They were for sure.
Yeah. And I think if he got a Gambit movie, I have a feeling it would be better, but maybe not.
That's true. I mean, it might be better if they treat 2 hours of this seriously.
I'll be honest. I hope they don't continue with him. I mean, it's fine. I'm glad that we got this. It's like I don't hate it or anything, but like
no,
I do want to see maybe like a young no name actor that like is really just takes hold of this role and becomes fucking Gambit. That's Gambit the same way that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, that's what I would want.
I mean, he looked out of place, Yeah. It was fun for the movie, and I think they were trying to make it fun and funny.
I do think it's wild we're talking about this because this is kind of decent size spoiler, but like it's been all over the internet at this point, so I don't even feel the need to say anything.
All right, true. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you click on something where people are talking about this movie at this point, and you haven't seen it, you kind of should just like not click on the movie if it's really important to you.
Yeah,
I'm sure on the video rather.
All right, we can do this, guys. We can do this.
All right.
I probably have
huge part of what
I just have like 10-15 minutes left before I have to.
We're finishing this, Turf.
You have to stay here till we're done.
No.
This film is banking on is the pre-existing continuity. But the whole point of making a sequel,
like every
the whole
fucking
point of your story being set after another one is that you accept and get to extract a lot of the material that exists in those prior stories, but you're also bound to what they established about your characters and your world. You don't just get to hit the reset button because you want to pivot away to some other...
Wait a second, you fucking moron. In some cases, that's exactly what you get to do with a multiverse. You may not like it. You may think it's a fucking cheat, but that's exactly what you get to do with, I mean, and they still didn't do it like to any... Like, it's really the details of his story that are different, not anything... like, I don't understand what man, I would love to just ask them direct questions, but you know, they're not going to let us do that because we just want attention.
Yes.
Like, what do you think is so different about this Wolverine? Please define that, because what's different about Deadpool, as a matter of fact?
Yeah, I mean, those two acted very similar to what they've acted in the other movies they've been in. You know, like, okay, maybe not like Logan Wolverine, you know, but like it's still Wolverine, and it's still the Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I
mean, I personally thought Hugh Jackman kind of stole the show with this movie. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, he was pretty great.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He is pretty good.
But I mean, also, like, think about Chris Hemsworth as Thor. He, you know, kind of changed how he was playing the character pretty dramatically at a certain point. Just you know, and it's like it worked.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I was thinking about Deadpool and Wolverine. I was like, wait, Chris Hemsworth? And
yeah, you didn't see that?
Yeah. Yeah, when he's holding Deadpool and he's dying, yeah.
Yeah, that was out of character, actually. I don't think he would do that.
Yeah, true.
Apparently that was taken from the Dark World footage. So.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was just reusing the scene with Loki or not, or if they were like using a different test, because I was like, that definitely was old, but
why was Thor crying, you know? Like, are we ever going to find that out? I actually do hope that in Secret Wars, this is followed up on. That would be amazing.
That would be fun.
Anyway.
Set of goals that you have. But like, if you've got a case where the plot is insane, the main characters of the film are acting completely incongruent with their fundamental motivations or their prior character arcs.
They're not.
These things are completely a mess as a consequence.
You haven't made that case, you fucking idiots.
What is there aside from essentially very superficial, surface level points of praise, like about specific bits of iconography that are from the comics, or specific music choices, or a dance sequence? Never mind all of the damage that's been dealt to the prior canon, because again, it feels like something that's worth emphasizing.
Prior canon, that is pretty much not even around anymore. You do understand the Fox universe is pretty much done. This is like, I wasn't even expecting this movie to be a swan song, but it was kind of a swan song. That universe is fucking done.
I'm also, I don't know where how we've gotten to the point where people, like the first thing you need to do is prove why you like something. Like, I feel like that's very backwards, you know. It's like, okay, I like this movie, and then someone's like just demanding to prove why it's not shit. I feel like, and maybe that's just my fault, but it's like people should start off by proving why they don't like it, you know. Like, he hasn't done that. He's demanding. It's like why do you like it so much, you know? Like, what's good about this? We already know it's horrible. Like, no, we don't. You haven't talked about it. You haven't elaborated on anything of why you don't like it.
Too much.
Well, and also,
no.
I mean, talking about like, superficial points of praise, like that dance sequence, like it wasn't just a superficial, beyond like generally decent camera work. Like, that was also an in-character scene for our title character. It's not as though, like, if that dance scene had been Logan and it had been identical, I don't think that people would have been praising it as much, because they'd been like, why the fuck is he doing that, right? But because of the character that they chose to be doing, like, it's not, you know, I don't know, they seem to seriously think that anything that isn't dialogue or just like outright stated isn't part of the writing, but it's like, it's all part, it's not superficial, you know.
Do you think if like Deadpool was just sitting down and actually just like saying or like narrating what was happening, we didn't see anything of that title sequence, he just like, and now I dance, you know, and he just explains all of it, do you think they would like it better?
No, these guys possibly.
Probably.
Deadpool, and I am fairly comfortable with
excellent point, Blackwing Gaming. I want to point something out here. Holy shit, you've landed on something. Anybody that's, you know, sometimes suffered, I would say, through those early Marvel movies, knows that the goddamn continuity between X-Men 1 and 2 and X-Men 2 and 3 is just, if it wasn't Wolverine or Magneto or Professor X, they didn't give a fuck. They just would, you know,
continuity in the Fox universe is fucking garbage. Let's be real.
Anybody that's trying to appeal to like the you know, some kind of purity of the you know, canon throughout those films or whatever, it's like you are fucking full of shit. Sorry. I'm just sorry. I mean, just Storm's accent for one thing.
Yeah.
What the hell?
She had an accent, then it was gone. What?
I mean, is Trask Bill Duke or Peter Dinklage?
Right. You couldn't get two more different guys.
They weren't the same actor? They looked identical. What?
Yeah. Like, wow. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit stunned now. I'm having these flashes of like all the things that frustrated me about those movies back in the day, and I'm like, he actually has tried to appeal to that.
It's like, which continuity are they supposed to stick with in Deadpool and Wolverine? Like, are they supposed to pick the movie that they have decided is the best one and, continue with the continuity from that? Is it supposed to be from the most recent movie? Like, should we be, watching and rewatching New Mutants to make sure that we don't contradict it in any way? Like, what does this mean? If only there were podcasters famous for giving long rants that could give us a really well thought out explanation of exactly what they're talking about.
Actually, use that time for something fucking useful. God damn it!
I want to go ahead and add something. So keep in mind, in 1992, Magneto looked like Michael Fassbender. In 2000, Magneto looks like Ian McKellen. That's a rough 8 fucking years. I'm just saying.
Yep. I mean, Cyclops was both in high school in like the 70s and just like a decade later in the 80s too.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Listen, this shit, I'm gonna blow your mind. Out of all of the Foxmen movies, the ones that have the most consistent continuity are the Deadpool films.
Yeah, true. At least, I mean, the fact is that those movies know what they are and just have fun with it.
Right. You know what? They even call it out. Deadpool says it's your brother, Sabretooth, and it's like, well, but he really wasn't in that incarnation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, surprised like Mystique is Professor X's sister now. Like anything, anyone could be. Honestly, I feel like there could be a decent bit in there somewhere if they'd introduced a new character in this film and just been like, oh yeah, this has been Wolverine's brother this whole time or whatever. Like just some guy named Jeff we've never seen before. Like, all right, sure.
That would be awesome.
Deadpool, literally, you're right. Deadpool has called it out before.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jesus. These guys couldn't be more cartoonish versions of themselves than what they're doing. All right,
we can do.
We're almost there, kind of. Maybe
when you're watching Logan and you see the end of the film in the continuity of that world, his corpse gets both metaphorically and figuratively dug up and then thrown at a bunch of the MCU sludge.
It's not metaphorical, really, at all. It's quite literal, but yeah.
And also, do they think that Logan was the same Wolverine from the other movies, because it's explicitly was stated that's a different?
Yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah.
Mangold said it's not the same Wolverine as from the X-Men movies. So, yeah. I mean, look. I mean, holy shit. Okay, if they had a problem with Luke Skywalker's characterization in Last Jedi, they should have had a problem with Logan's in Logan. Considering where we left him, like when you think about the last time we really saw him, he was happy. Everything was going good. It's the end of Days of Future Past. Everybody was back. Everybody's cool. Look, Professor's back. Gene's back. Scott's back. The school's fucking thriving. Everything is great. But why have the next time we see him, if they think that that's the same Logan, that is he's all grumpy and he can't get his claws up and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's all upset. He's given up on life. Logan would never do that. That's not my Logan. Like, what the hell?
That's actually a really good point.
It's an excellent point. I hadn't even thought about it. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And as I said,
it's deflating.
There's nothing we could say to further push this point to the forefront. Me and Freaky went into this being like, man.
Actually, there's a lot of things you could do to make your argument better, but
I'm curious what he's about to say. Did they go into it really excited and looking for the positives, or?
I mean, they're about ready to get to the meat and potatoes of this whole fucking argument, right? We're most of the way through this. We're almost there, right?
They don't sound excited to talk about this. And I don't know about you guys. If you're feeling this down about something, are you like do you talk about it then? If you're really this I don't know. Negative about something.
I will tell you what this feels like to me. It feels like these guys went into it deciding they're going to hate it, and now they just have to work backwards live.
And they're having a hard time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the frustration that they feel is probably very real. It's just not frustration with the movie itself. It's frustration with trying to make it seem like, you know, really terrible when it's like it's at worst it's just like a pretty you know, kind of messy in places, but generally fun movie. You know, they could go after the humor and say that a lot of the jokes fall flat or something like that. When it's like, as Morgan and I were talking about recently, and this is important to think about, a lot of Deadpool's humor is supposed to fall flat.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to not be funny to anybody but himself in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Deadpool is a character that finds himself way more entertaining than the audience generally does. At least way more than I do.
This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be great.
That was the hope. The hope was at the very least that it would get some laughs out of me.
There we go. Bam,
if you go to the real BBC coverage of the trailers, you'll see that I'm like trying to defend the movie as being like, this looks like it's got potential. We've got some good stuff here, and it's like, yeah, but it's fucking MCU Phase 5, whatever. It's like, yeah, but like, look, they're gonna be using an alternative reality Wolverine that made far worse choices to.
We actually watched their coverage. I don't know if that was the real BBC or was it him on Nerdrotic and shit.
Yeah. Which was hilarious.
We have a video about that. You know, because Nerdrotic called out, like, you know, accurately that the villain was Polaris, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Polaris, a character famous for her long green hair and just green features. That's what we got as the villain in Deadpool Logan. Did you guys miss that?
I must have fallen asleep.
Yeah. That was the main villain.
Yeah. Must have been.
Reflect like the opposite of what a Wolverine should be and is, and he's gonna have to deal with people who knew a better Wolverine. There's gonna create all kinds of conflict with that, and there's so many options they could take that. And then, you know, like, it is the multiverse. You do have a small spark sometimes of like, you know,
Christ, man. Like,
there's no reason they can't have any of these particular characters.
He's not even engaging with what's literally in the movie. He's like, this Wolverine doesn't give a fuck really what anybody thinks until it gets to, you know, he kind of cares about Laura, I suppose. And at that point, he is kind of realizing that he's got to work through some shit, I think. But like, why would he give a fuck? First of all, there's only a couple of people that know the other Wolverine, or no, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't come up really. It's not the point of the movie. He's just in his own fucking trauma world, and he doesn't give a shit. He just kind of is annoyed anytime Deadpool or somebody brings it up. That Wolverine's supposed to be some great hero or whatever, because like he doesn't think he can be that. I don't know. It's just, you'd almost be writing a completely different movie, and they're the only justification for, you know, saying that that's really necessary is if this was just terrible and a bad representation of Wolverine, which it's not. It's just not. All right, I'm gonna not talk for a full minute now.
I do have to get going because I need to get up tomorrow. But I just want to say this video has been. I mean, it's been fun to react to because you guys. It's been an absolute chore. Yeah, they are. I mean, I get the whole EFAP thing now. Yeah. If they could react to themselves, they'd have content forever.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
This is really not good.
That'd be the day when they do that.
And a day literally, because it'll take about that long.
It will take a day, yes. Anyways, have fun.
Yep.
See you guys later. Peace out.
Later.
You guys should subscribe to that kid. He's pretty cool.
Yes.
Oh, he's still on. Fuck.
Get the fuck out of here.
That we know and love come in and do something really substantive and meaningful and well executed that makes you think, man, that's so cool that they got them to do that. Like, I don't really care if I'm on an island with it. It's just, I would rather have not seen Chris Evans reprise his role as the Human Torch if it meant watching him get nut-shotted, back broken, and then stripped of his skin.
Why?
Yeah, is it just like
not
is
what
the entire argument?
Did they love his
feelings?
character so much because those Fantastic Four movies were so fucking good? Like what?
So beloved.
What the hell?
Everybody loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he was the best part of those movies for sure. But yeah, that's just a weird thing to be against, honestly. Like, it's almost like choosing that character, that version of the character anyway, is a pretty fucking innocuous kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I didn't feel offended or anything about it.
I mean, they obviously did it just because, you could have a little tease of Captain America, Deadpool getting really excited, and then just, oh yeah, no, we're in the Fox universe, buddy.
If I didn't know ahead of time that he was playing the character he plays, then if that kind of like fake out that they tried to do would have worked, it would have been pretty great, but it didn't work because I already knew. So
I didn't even know it in advance because I saw it opening night, so I hadn't heard it reported. But like the second that he leaned into it being Captain America, I was like, oh, that's what it's gonna be. And I like looked over at my girlfriend, and then I looked at it and I was like, I almost spoiled it for her. Like, I know what they're gonna do here.
Yeah, that's kind of what I went through watching it, because I didn't know going in. I had heard Chris Evans is in it, but then they lean into Captain America. It's like, okay, either Captain America's in this, or they're gonna have fun subverting us with Human Torch. And I just
think so.
Avenger. It was.
I think you nailed it. It's the only thing we can extrapolate from this.
I want to see. I was like, okay, well, that's.
I think something that's making me a little bit upset as well is the realization that I don't know, Deadpool 1 and 2 in particular, the first Deadpool. I don't know. It seems like it has gone.
Okay, hold on. Okay, guy. Okay, man. I don't know if you're familiar with EFAP. It seems like you might not be. Like, this is the reason these specific content creators, because I've seen them several times now, just basically repeating that, like, people are allowed to like things without giving a reason. Yeah, that's true, except for EFAP. I'm sorry, they've made a fucking name for themselves by literally having problems with things that people like or not like, but generally things they like.
These guys classify themselves, I'm sure they do, as movie reviewers. They talk about movies. They should be able to at least somewhat succinctly summarize their opinions on those movies, and essentially tell us those opinions. This is something they consistently fail to fucking do.
Do I need to pull up some clips, guy? Are you seriously not familiar with them, or are you like actually a fan of theirs and you're just kind of like trying to derail the stream? Which one is it?
Jesus,
underappreciated in terms of its qualities, and how sound it is. And
Wait,
like
what's
how,
underappreciated?
Its success ought to be directly attributed to its quality rather than simply it being different than a lot of the superhero films that were coming out at the time. It wasn't just that it had meta humor or that it was edgy, or that it made jokes at the expense of and made fun of like trends in comic book movies. Deadpool 1 in particular is just a really sound, like, it's a really sound movie where they made a lot of really good decisions in terms of how to pace it, how to establish the characters, how to balance comedy and drama. And that it's really unfortunate that it seems that Deadpool and Wolverine is being viewed as comparable or in line with the thought process and methodology behind the creation of that film, when that is not the case. This film is very much, in many ways, in keeping with MCU sludge. Has a lot of the same
in many ways
tenets of MCU sludge.
And those ways are
the other Deadpool film.
And those ways are. And then he starts listing them, right? Okay.
Which felt like they were actually trying to be unique and provide something unique, and had thought and care put into the crafting of those stories.
Okay, please tell me that most of you watching can tell that, despite saying words, do you have any clearer idea of what they're saying? About the movie itself, because I don't.
Nothing specific.
Yeah,
they're saying they're not doing it with care. They're saying it's the same thing as bad writing. It's like bad writing. They're not doing it with care. They're disrespecting the characters. It's like these are fucking things that superficial fucking media illiterate people, honestly, that think they are very literate but are actually not. That they think that this means something without anything to substantiate it.
But
really, you do need to substantiate these if you want to convey your ideas to people. Not to say that I'm going to say you're wrong. I might say I'll disagree, but I can't even get to that point because I don't fucking understand what you're saying. You're not saying anything.
I think I was just going to try to. I'm going to try to break it down and say what they're saying is that this movie tonally is like an MCU movie and not a Deadpool movie, which I'll say they can have that opinion. I disagree very much.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely, at least partially because of it being rated R and having Deadpool, swearing and talking about certain things, that like, and taking the piss out of a franchise that generally takes itself kind of seriously. That is the tone of Deadpool movies, and it's not so much the tone of MCU movies, but also it is an MCU movie technically, so like it should kind of feel like it's part of that franchise.
Well, I think it's also, I will also say, like, if somebody wants to say, hey, what should I watch before going into this? The three things I came away thinking, it's good to be familiar with: Logan, Deadpool 2, and Loki season 1. Only one of those is fucking MCU.
But you should wholly expect that the wrong lessons will be taken from this film, which is particularly catastrophic when this film has a lot of flaws, more flaws than No Way Home. The lesson will be, yes, more multiverse stuff for legacy characters. Find ways to grab them, get them in there. And they might even have the lesson of like, just have a little bit of edge. Sometimes a character say fuck, and maybe there's a little bit of blood. Oh yeah, that means.
So whenever they do get any kind of close to specific, even though it's not really, I wouldn't call this specific. What they do is okay. They're referencing the fact that they curse and that there's blood and stuff. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere, but really it's just used as a way to generalize and dismiss it all.
This seems like they're criticizing what could happen in the future because of this movie, which is a really weird fucking critique. It's not even a critique of this movie.
Yeah, it's like, okay, fine that you have that opinion, that you think that they're going to take the wrong lessons from this. You should probably first give us the lessons that Deadpool, like, you should probably give us a full critique of Deadpool first. Like the fact that the first specific point we're making is not about the film feels like maybe we went wrong somewhere.
Okay, so yes, you're right. They've said that, and I'm asking for something to back that up, to like let me know what they mean by that, because I can make that kind of claim about all kinds of shit. So if I was gonna say that this version of Wolverine is, the characterization is all wrong, and now I'm going to be making something up here because I don't think the characterization is wrong, but I'm going to give you an example if it was. This Wolverine, he likes to fart and laugh at fart jokes and stuff like that, and he's just never done that before. Like, that'd be a specific example, a really stupid one.
Yeah, this Wolverine, all he does is tell jokes.
Yeah, he's just constantly joking. This Deadpool is really serious, Like that would be a really egregious fucking, just like completely, somebody got their wires really crossed on that version. You know what I mean? But they don't do that. There's nothing. It's just it's vague gesturing to things that like, and the reason they do that is because their audience doesn't need to hear any specifics. To them, it's a feeling. They already think that that's true, right? Many of them don't even watch the movies. They watch EFAP. And so they just vaguely gesture to this being a different, the writing is bad or the characterization is wrong or whatever it is. And they go, yeah, that's true. That's true. Specifics would actually hurt their argument with their audience.
Hey, X-23 put on her glasses. But she wore them in Logan, so.
Okay, so
that was it.
Why is that bad?
It is miserable corporate slop. And
why is that bad?
Yeah, if that was all that she did in the entire film, I'd agree that's dumb. But like, she did more things, Oh, what? Give examples.
He called it visual corporate slop. How is that? Like, these are fucking buzzwords that their audience relate to at this point. They, the sludge is one they love to call the MCU sludge, by the way, if you haven't heard that. So that's just,
I think that's from a critical drinker, but he might
hitting the trigger words
somewhere else.
We're almost done, guys. We're like almost done.
We can do this.
Absolutely.
Every time they release something like this, it means that we could have had something fucking awesome, or even acceptably
Well, now the
cool.
opportunity is forever gone. There
It's
will
gone,
never be your first opportunity to have Deadpool and Wolverine team up.
Yes, every movie can be better. Can we just judge this movie for what it is? Is that too much to fucking ask? Holy shit.
Except Shawshank.
True.
That's gone forever. Because if they try to make more Deadpool and Wolverine films as well, strictly from a financial standpoint, I don't see that they perform better. You know, it feels like it's definitely got to be a case of diminishing returns because the novelty is gone. That's really...
Depends. That 100% depends, but...
a big thing that's helping the film is the novelty of it all. But once that erodes, what's left? In the case of Deadpool, because it had novelty working for it, you had a really cool movie. In the case of this one, you've just got a very... in many ways, very standard Phase 4, Phase 5 movie.
Which probably sums it up, eh? Is there anything else you want to say about?
Oh, that sums it up. That makes it clear. Thank you, guys. The fuck?
A standard movie that made, is now the highest selling R-rated film ever in anything. Literally, just like all the other shit, just like the Marvels, right?
Sure. We're almost done, but oh my god.
This wonderful
movie.
Very,
very disappointing. So disappointing.
Yes.
God damn it.
Obviously won't be ever thinking of this film as canon as Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan are, where the story finishes for both of these guys.
Yes.
That was always an option for you, and that means you don't have to be upset. Fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I'm fucking just like, I'm over it. I can't believe that at the end of this now, they started with saying that they fucking ruined Logan. They shit all over that, desecrated it, blah, 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 whatever they said. But like the general thing was that because he digs up his corpse, that they fucked up that movie somehow. And now he says, well, of course it's not canon to that. I'm not going to conclude that in my mind because you could always do that. That's always an option. Just like, the Star Wars movies ends after The Last Jedi. That's it. Nothing happens after that.
I mean, I'm sorry. The idea of going into a Deadpool movie and expecting Deadpool to be respectful of anything. Like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, that just shows they misunderstand the character of Deadpool and have no, room to stand on to, say that this is a mischaracterization of Deadpool. Yeah.
Especially if we're getting Wolverine and Deadpool team up with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, team up with fucking every other person you could imagine, and Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man to fight Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom.
I don't know about Robert Downey Jr., but get Deadpool and Spider-Man team up? I am game. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that
I think
the
Shad said on... sludge.
Oh
my God.
Shad said it on FNT that's very likely what we should expect is that they will have the RDJ Iron Man fight the RDJ Doom.
Man,
I don't know that they're really going to do that.
Yeah, I feel like I could end up eating my words here, but that does not feel likely at all.
I don't think so, but if they do, I think it would be very brief. But I don't know. I don't think they would do that. I think to show off how powerful Doom is, they'll probably have him kill off a CGI Kang.
Yeah,
but.
I mean, this is a good point, Mikey. Deadpool doesn't respect the mediums in which he is presented. That's the point.
Yeah.
He doesn't fucking respect this is supposed to be a story that you're supposed to be immersed in this story. You're not supposed to literally look at the audience, and that's the whole point of Deadpool. He doesn't give a shit. Deadpool and Spider-Man could be good because it's actually Spider-Man Deadpool the way they present in the comics generally. With the movie, I guess it would be whichever one is more popular. So in the comics, it's like Wolverine is kind of his entry point into becoming a better person in a lot of ways, from just being the kind of irreverent hitman who doesn't give a fuck or really have any morals. Wolverine kind of gets him started on that path. Spider-Man is the one who actually, there's several, I mean, they had a ongoing series for a while, where he actually does start to learn how to be a better human being based on Spider-Man, his example. which is pretty cool. And if they did something like that, that might be neat. Are we done? Is it over? What?
No, we got a couple minutes left. We can do this. We said we'd do it. We can do it.
Right. Yeah, that's not a bad guess.
It's just,
man.
Isn't that the height of it? That's the Ouroboros has reached critical mass.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this movie sucks because in the future, RDJ might fight RDJ.
Yeah.
You thought that it was over? Nope. This film will spur them into the belief of, yes, we are making the right decisions. This film's success will make Marvel think, you know what? We're back on track.
But they're not, because
were they
even though they made a shitload of money.
Track? I mean, the Marvels was a bomb, and then that's kind of about it. Like every year, they've had a pretty successful movie, if I'm remembering correctly. I mean, obviously not 2020 because like movies were canceled for the most part in 2020. But every other year, I think they've had a solid hit on their hands.
They've clearly kind of adjusted their plans, which is a smart thing to do. The only movie they're putting out this year is a runaway fucking success.
Yeah.
Man, they're still kind of at the bottom rung though, I guess.
Yeah, 2021
was generally had a lot of fun with this movie and liked it a lot. But but they say that it's actually corporate sludge or something, so fair enough. Good point, I guess.
Brace yourselves for some sludge.
Yep.
It's coming. They got trucks full of it rolling down the street, ready to blast you with it.
Well, and this film's the red carpet, isn't it, for that? It's like, hey, you like this? Well, guess what? We're bringing up fucking everyone. Well, it's probably a good place to wrap. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you had some fun. This feels like a very,
not really, man.
very
not
unpopular perspective.
I need to watch Hulk
that's
fucking punch a dog in the dick.
They didn't even make any particularly interesting inflammatory points or anything. It was just it was just nothing. Like if we're talking sludge, like I got no value out of that commentary whatsoever.
EFAP is tough to sit through, but how's that 15-minute feel like so much worse? Holy shit. They said nothing. Like they said nothing that I kind of summarized in my 500-word newspaper reviews, and then also had like 475 other words to play around with.
Of course they don't. Perp. Hey, what's up? How's it going, by the way? They don't generally talk about stuff that they like. I don't think. I mean, here and there, I know they have. Because their fans will be quick to bring those few things up. Cool. I'm glad that there are some things that they like and they'll actually talk about. But they're incentivized to mostly talk about things that they don't like and be very, very reductive about it, as they're doing with this. Like, I mean, just saying the line from the trailer in a mocking tone. Let's fucking go. Like, yeah, man, that is a line in the movie. What's your point?
What's badass line in the movie too.
Feige, Disney, or whoever very easily could have told them they have to do certain things that are going to spin off into future projects or whatever.
Yeah.
And they didn't really do that.
This movie was a love letter to the Fox universe. Actually, Dean in my comments brought up a very good point. They did miss a cameo with Foggy Nelson. He was right there, and they didn't do it.
Yeah. That would have been confusing. Like, why you wouldn't just hire the same actor that's been in the movie since the first Iron Man film to play another character later on in the MCU, would you?
No.
All right, you assholes.
Amazing Civilization, which, by the way,
I think so.
Underwater just seems to create some problems. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, how does this society? Well, I guess we eventually see like how it operates, but it's just like, how do you build stuff, man? Like in water, like
underwater welding. It's one of the most essential jobs on the planet. Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.